The chamber was vast beyond comprehension, a cathedral of translucent walls and hovering platforms, where alien delegates from hundreds of civilizations floated, or slithered, or pulsated, in an array of forms unimaginable to human eyes. Holographic projections of stars and planets swirled overhead, Earth illuminated in sharp contrast, a tiny blue gem that drew every gaze. High Chancellor Xyler's voice cut through the murmurs, cold and unyielding. Earth has destabilized the galaxy. Its species exhibits uncontainable behavior. It is hereby exiled from all interstellar communication, trade, and travel. Effective immediately. A ripple of alien voices erupted, some in fury, others in satisfaction, but all tinged with certainty. Every species present had their own reasons for seeing humans as unpredictable, dangerous, or at best, a chaotic variable in the galaxy's delicate equilibrium. Yet, all agreed on one thing: humanity was to be removed. Meanwhile, orbiting high above Earth, the starship Dauntless cut a sleek silhouette against the planet's vibrant blue oceans. Inside, Captain Arya Voss watched the broadcast, her dark eyes calm, almost unreadable. Around her, the bridge hummed with controlled activity. Technicians monitoring communications, officers scanning the feed from the Council, engineers preparing contingency protocols. "Exiled," she said finally, her voice steady. "They think a vote is enough to stop us." Lieutenant Caden Reyes, her tactical officer, raised an eyebrow. "Stop us? Captain, they just effectively blacklisted humanity. No trade, no communication, no access to interstellar resources. That's unprecedented." Arya allowed a small, wry smile. "Unprecedented is exactly what they should expect from humans." She turned to face the main view screen, letting her gaze linger on the glowing blue orb of Earth. "They don't understand one thing: we don't crumble under rules. We bend them, work around them, and we survive. Always." Behind her, the crew exchanged glances. There was fear, yes, but also the spark that made humans different, the spark that had built empires, walked across worlds, and survived when the odds were stacked impossibly high. The bridge commander, Lieutenant Mira Cho, tapped her tablet and frowned. "The Council isn't just expelling Earth. Their fleets are already mobilizing near key systems: Mars, Europa, Titan. Supply lines could be cut within days." Arya nodded. "Then we'll find new supply lines. We'll use what they don't expect, what they can't predict. Human ingenuity, Lieutenant. Remember that." Caden muttered under his breath, half in disbelief, half in awe. "You really make it sound like a game." "Because it is," Arya said, her tone flat but confident. "A game of survival. And in this game, humans don't lose." Back in the Galactic Council chamber, Xyler's tentacles fluttered with impatience. "This species has shown aggression in every frontier, disregard for treaties, and an alarming capacity for improvisation. They cannot be contained by our regulations, and they will be a constant threat if left unchecked." Another delegate, a crystalline entity named Shivrek, shimmered in agreement. "Exile is the only logical choice. The human's ingenuity is admirable, in a primitive sort of way. But it is dangerous. Removal is necessary." And yet, as Xyler pronounced humanity's doom, he could not see the subtle defiance already brewing among the humans in orbit. Small, almost imperceptible, but growing. Arya convened a council of her own aboard the Dauntless. The meeting room was smaller, more intimate, but the weight of the decision was heavier than any council vote. Officers gathered, tense but attentive. "Here's what we know," Arya began, pacing slowly. "The council has voted us out. No trade, no communication, no alliances. They'll try to isolate us completely. They think we'll panic, crumble, or beg. They're wrong. Dead wrong. We can't just ignore the blockade," Mira said. "Their fleets could cut off supply runs in hours. If they find our colonies unprotected—" "They won't," Arya interrupted, eyes sharp. "Not if we're smart. Not if we use our heads and what they don't understand about us." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "The galaxy thinks humans are reckless, chaotic. That's their mistake. Humans are adaptable. We improvise. We exploit opportunity. And when they try to contain us, we'll slip through the cracks they think are solid. Caden leaned forward. You really believe we can thrive while the Council is actively trying to strangle us? Aria's gaze swept over the bridge, then returned to Earth's radiant blue. We don't just survive, Lieutenant. We walk away. And when we do, the galaxy will realize that humans are not to be underestimated. A murmur of agreement, low and quiet, rippled through the room. There was no bravado, no overconfidence. Just certainty, the kind that comes from generations who had faced impossible odds and carved survival from the void. Outside the ship, orbital defenses hummed to life. Earth cities glittered, powered by artificial suns, terraforming stations glimmering in orbit. Humanity's resilience was tangible, almost audacious in the way it shone against the galaxy's scrutiny. The Council might have issued a sentence, but it was one they could not enforce entirely, not yet. Aria returned to the bridge and tapped a sequence into the console. Holograms of fleets, asteroid belts, and trade routes shimmered into existence. She traced a finger along a convoluted path through uncharted regions. This, she said softly, is where they'll never find us. Where we'll thrive on our terms. The galaxy can vote us out, yes. But it cannot erase what humans are capable of. Myra's voice was quieter now, but firm. We'll need to act fast. Supplies, colonies, fleet coordination. We always do, Aria said, finally letting a faint smirk play across her face. That's what makes us human. Chaos doesn't scare us. Rules don't bind us. And a vote, well, it's just a piece of paper. It changes nothing. She turned to the main viewport, watching the Council's distant holographic projections flicker like distant stars. Let them vote us out, she said, almost to herself. We'll show them how humans walk away. And in that quiet defiance, the spark of humanity's true nature ignited. Calm, deliberate, and unstoppable, Earth's defenders prepared to meet Exile not as punishment, but as the stage for their next triumph. The void of space outside the Dauntless was dark and silent, but silence was a lie. Alien warships moved like predators along designated lanes, forming a blockade meant to strangle Earth's trade and supply lines before humanity could react. From orbit, it looked insurmountable, a wall of alien steel and energy shields designed to make humans bend. Captain Aria Voss stood on the bridge, hands behind her back, watching the patterns flicker across the hologrid. Each fleet position, each patrol orbit, each detection sensor, all meticulously logged. They think they can corner us, she murmured. They've studied our history, our technology, but not our thinking. Lieutenant Caden Reyes leaned over the console, fingers flying across the interface. Sensors confirm the outermost patrols are spaced 5,000 kilometers apart. If we slip through at that gap, we could resupply Mars without detection. Aria's eyes gleamed. Exactly. Humans don't rush the wall head-on. We find the cracks. Then we exploit them. Prepare the stealth pods. Minimal signatures, variable approach vectors. And remember, they're expecting conventional tactics. We won't give them that. Mara Cho, her operations officer, frowned. Even so, any miscalculation could draw the fleet's attention. Their energy weapons have range and precision we've never faced before. Aria turned, calm but commanding. And yet we will navigate it. That's what humans do. Calculated risk. Improvisation. Survival. She paused, letting the weight of her confidence settle over the crew. If we succeed, the galaxy sees us not as reckless, but as unstoppable. Hours later, Dauntless and its accompanying stealth pods threaded through the outer reaches of the alien blockade. Sensors blared silently, data streaming into the ship's mainframe. Every patrol ship, every detection wave, every alien vessel's pulse was logged and analyzed in real time. Aria's fingers tapped across the hollow interface, adjusting vectors and sending decoy signals. Pods are in position, Caden reported. We can move Mars convoys under cover of the asteroid belt. Thermal masking will hide us from the main grid for 20 minutes. Aria leaned over the map, tracing the path with her finger. Then 20 minutes is all we need. 20 minutes of freedom to remind the galaxy that humans can't be corralled. The convoys departed. Each pod slipped past the alien patrols like shadows, invisible and intangible. For a moment, silence hung over the bridge, tense and electric. Then the first fleet sensors flickered, anomaly detected, but by the time the aliens adjusted, the human convoys were gone, beyond reach. A cheer erupted quietly among the crew. It was not victory, but proof humanity could still act under constraints designed to cripple them. Arya allowed herself a satisfied nod. They'll think they have us, and we'll be 2 steps ahead. That's how humans fight back. Always. As the convoys docked at Martian stations, engineers rushed to offload supplies and repair ships. Humans worked with efficiency and ingenuity, improvising tools where conventional equipment was blocked by embargoes. Automated drones carried components through half-pressurized corridors. AI-assisted assemblers built makeshift shields to replace damaged ones. Even in adversity, the human touch, creative, adaptive, relentless, kept everything moving. "Captain," Mira said, interrupting the hum of activity. "We've received a transmission from a minor council member, species Nirili. They're offering covert support. Supplies, intelligence on fleet movements. They're sympathetic to humans' plight." Arya raised an eyebrow. "Interesting. Allies in the shadows. That could tip the scales if we play it carefully. Bring the data to me. But no direct contact. They'll expose themselves, and then the Council will know we're manipulating this." Meanwhile, in the far reaches of the Council chamber, Xyler's tentacles curled tightly around his seat. "The humans have slipped through the blockade," he hissed. "Impossible. They were contained." Shivrek's crystalline form shimmered, pulsing in sharp patterns. "They improvise. They anticipate. They adapt in ways we cannot predict. I do not like it." Xyler's eyes narrowed. "Then contain them by force. Send additional fleets. Monitor every system. Exile must be enforced." Back on the Dauntless, Arya smiled faintly. "Let them try," she muttered. "The more they tighten the net, the more room there is for humans to maneuver." Hours stretched into days. Small skirmishes occurred. Human stealth fighters intercepted reconnaissance drones, leaving scrambled signals that frustrated alien commanders. A small team piloted a pod to Europa's outer rings, reclaiming vital energy nodes that had been quietly deactivated by the Council's agents. Every maneuver was precise, calculated, and bold. During a quiet moment, Arya called her senior officers together. "We've proven we can operate under pressure, evade them, and protect our assets. But this is only the beginning. The Council will adapt. They'll tighten the blockade, increase surveillance, maybe even attempt sabotage." Kaden frowned. "And we'll be ready?" Arya's gaze swept over her team, unwavering. "We don't just survive, Kaden. We advance. Every challenge they throw at us teaches us, shapes us, makes us stronger. That's what humans do. That's what makes us different." Mara leaned forward, her tone measured. "Captain, morale is high. Crew confidence is rising. Humans are seeing themselves not as victims of exile, but as a species proving it can't be contained." "Exactly," Arya said. She walked to the main viewport, staring at the swirling colors of the asteroid belts below. "Exile isn't a punishment. It's an opportunity. An opportunity to show the galaxy what humans are truly capable of when they're cornered. They can vote us out, try to strangle us, but we'll move through cracks they don't even see. That's our edge. That's our strength." The crew's faces reflected quiet determination. They understood now, the vote wasn't a verdict. It was a challenge. And humans did not merely accept challenges, they conquered them. At the edge of the solar system, stealth pods slipped past the final patrol, undetected. Convoys docked safely at hidden bases beyond known space lanes. And across every channel, whispers of human ingenuity began to spread. Small factions of minor alien civilizations quietly observed, intrigued by this species that could defy rules, evade control, and strike with calculated precision. Arya turned back to her crew, her expression resolute. This is only the first step. Exile may separate us from the galaxy, but it cannot define us. We decide who we are. We define our path. And in the end, humanity will not just survive, they will thrive. Outside, the galaxy spun on, unaware that the humans it had tried to confine were already taking their first victorious steps toward proving that Exile was merely another frontier to master. The void beyond the solar system pulsed with silent menace. Alien fleets, larger and more numerous than any humans had ever seen, coalesced like a storm around the fringes of known space. Every vessel was armed, calibrated, and ready to enforce Exile with uncompromising precision. Yet, aboard the Dauntless, Captain Arya Voss moved through the bridge with calm authority, her presence a counterpoint to the tension that filled the air. Scans confirmed 3 new task forces, Lieutenant Caden Reyes reported. Heavy armament, advanced shielding, and, if I'm reading this correctly, experimental detection grids. They've learned from our last maneuvers. Arya's eyes narrowed slightly. Good. Then they're predictable. Humans don't fight blindly. We exploit predictability. Prepare the fleet. Full coordination, variable vectors, and decoy protocols. Every fleet movement must force them to react before we strike. Mira Cho leaned over the communications panel, a trace of worry in her voice. Captain, they've begun issuing ultimatums. They want us to surrender Earth's outer colonies or face full engagement. The Council intends to make an example of us. Arya's jaw set. Let them try. An example? They'll see only the consequences of underestimating humans. She tapped a sequence on the console, sending encrypted messages to hidden allies, minor civilizations sympathetic to humanity, eager to assist discreetly. We'll need every advantage they don't see coming. Hours later, human convoys began maneuvering through the blockade again, but this time it was a calculated trap. Stealth pods led alien fleets on false trajectories, while AI-controlled drones projected phantom convoys, forcing enemies to divide attention across false targets. Every human vessel moved in choreographed precision, exploiting the Council's confidence and rigidity. Captain, Caden said, voice tight with excitement, we've drawn 3 task forces away from their stations. Their formations are fractured. This is the opening. Arya nodded. Then we act. Deploy the primary strike team through the unmonitored sector. Convoy schedules staggered. We engage only on our terms. The first engagement was quiet but decisive. Human pods emerged from behind an asteroid cluster, striking at the alien flank with precision energy bursts and coordinated maneuvers. Alien ships responded with overwhelming firepower, yet every attack was anticipated, every shield countered. Humans moved like shadows, exploiting angles, gravitational anomalies, and predictive AI to stay always one step ahead. Impressive, Mira muttered, her voice tinged with awe. They can't touch us, yet they control twice our numbers. Numbers aren't everything, Arya said. Ingenuity and adaptability outweigh mass. That's why humans survive. As alien vessels regrouped, Arya executed the next phase, covert communication with key council members. Using intercepted frequencies, she presented evidence of internal dissent, minor alien factions uneasy with council overreach. They see humans as a threat, she explained to her officers. But they also fear their own exposure. We exploit that. Divide and destabilize before they consolidate. Meanwhile, Zyler's chamber erupted in chaos. The humans, how? The alien's voice echoed through crystalline corridors, disbelief sharpening every syllable. We held their fleets in a choke point. Nothing escapes. Nothing. Shivrek's crystalline facets glinted nervously. They improvise. Every maneuver they execute is unexpected. I cannot predict them. Back aboard the Dauntless, Arya smiled faintly. And that, she murmured, is why humans can never be corralled. The engagement escalated into a larger confrontation. Human strike teams, synchronized with covert allies, assaulted alien forward stations while stealth pods disrupted communications and sensor arrays. It was not a battle of brute force, it was a symphony of precision, strategy, and adaptability. Every human move exploited alien predictability. Every response was calculated to create the illusion of chaos. In the midst of this, Arya convened a council on the bridge via holofeed, displaying real-time fleet positions. We don't beg. We don't plead. We act. The council may have voted to exile us, but they underestimated the species they tried to control. Humanity thrives on challenges. Every obstacle is a step forward, not a roadblock. Caden's fingers flew over the console. Captain, their fleets are retreating, attempting to regroup. They're confused. Morale is dropping. Good, Arya said. Confusion is opportunity. They misjudge humans because they fear unpredictability. We exploit that fear. Keep pressure on, but conserve resources. Every action must serve a purpose. Minutes stretched into tense hours. Alien vessels faltered under the relentless, unconventional assaults. Fleets that had once seemed invincible began retreating in disarray. The Council's confidence, long absolute, wavered as whispers of human ingenuity reached distant delegates. Xyler's voice, once commanding, trembled with frustration. How can a species so small, so recently unified in the galactic arena, challenge all our efforts? Arya, observing through a secure feed, allowed herself a rare, faint smile. Size doesn't define capability. Creativity does. Ingenuity does. Courage does. That's humanity. With the alien fleets temporarily scattered, Arya enacted the final maneuver. Human convoys safely docked at hidden colonies, resupplied, and reinforced, all while alien attention remained misdirected. It was a perfect demonstration. Humans could be challenged, constrained, and exiled, yet they still found a way to dominate through intellect and adaptation. As the battle's echoes faded into the void, Arya addressed her crew. The Council sought to isolate us, to define our limits, to force us into submission. Instead, we've proven that humans are not bound by their constraints. They can vote to exile us, attempt to strangle us, but they cannot define our potential. We decide who we are. Mira exhaled, finally allowing herself a smile. And they'll know it. Soon enough. Not soon enough, Arya corrected. Now. Every alien fleet that thought it could corner us will carry the story of our defiance. Every council member who doubted us will reconsider. Humanity has not just survived exile, we've turned it into an opportunity to show what we are capable of. The bridge fell silent, but not from fear or tension. It was a silence of awe, of recognition, of quiet triumph. Humans had faced overwhelming odds and emerged not merely intact, but stronger, smarter, and bolder. From orbit, Earth gleamed below, a resilient jewel untouched by the Council's decree. Humanity had not merely walked away, they had walked away unbroken, with the galaxy's eyes now reluctantly widening to acknowledge the species they had sought to suppress. Arya returned to the main viewport, letting her gaze linger on the planet. Exile, she whispered, is nothing. Freedom in the shadow of their expectations, that is everything. And in that quiet, defiant moment, the first seeds of humanity's legend in the galaxy were sown. Not through conquest, not through intimidation, but through ingenuity, courage, and the relentless refusal to be underestimated.